Bye, sweetheart. Dear Emery, she's just heading up to the club to play some pickleball, which is something new to her, new to all of us. So today, something near and dear to my heart, I have a quick story to tell you about books for breakfast. It's Martin Luther King Day weekend here. For some reason, all the schools have been shut down for 4 days. There was no school on Friday. There's no school on Monday of this week. For some reason, Martin Luther King Day is a reason for schools and teachers to take a 4-day holiday on the back end of a 15 to 17 day break, depending what state you're in, over the Christmas and New Year's holidays. So we literally just got back to school, and after 1 week, what do we have waiting for us? We have a 4-day weekend. As a badass empire world builder, I don't get it. I don't understand at all. I don't have anything in common with people that hate work. I have nothing in common with people that despise their job, their career of choice. Maybe they have a lousy job, but it's not permanent. You can choose your career. You can choose what you do for a living. You can follow your passion and obsession if you choose to put in the work to develop your God-given abilities. You just can't have passion and obsession. You have to develop your skills. I developed my marketing skills. I developed my copywriting skills. I developed my public speaking skills, my video skills, my book writing skills, funnel building skills. I did it all over decades of dedicated work so that I can choose what type of world I want to build, where I want to live, where I want my child to go to school, where I want Krista and I to call home in the winter. But it's all about developing your passions and obsessions. That's where most people stop dead. I have a passion, Michael, for this, or I have an obsession for this, but then I'm like, okay, now start committing an hour a day to developing that obsession and that passion. And that'll separate the men from the boys. Are you willing to study copywriting for an hour for the next decade? Are you willing to write every single day, starting very poorly, for the next 2, 5, 10 years? I've been writing for almost 20 years. Are you willing to dedicate your life to your craft, at least an hour a day, to sharpening the axe? And that's where most people 1X. They don't even get started, and if they do, they 1X after one time and quit. Most 99% of businessmen, entrepreneurs, husbands, fathers, I call them 1Xers. If they even start something, which most of them don't, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to travel the world, I'm going to shoot daily videos, I'm going to start a monthly subscription newsletter, I'm going to create a funnel for my niche markets, I'm going to hire an executive assistant, I'm going to retire early, I'm going to live in Arizona, I'm going to work only 5 hours a day, I'm going to get in the best physical health of my best physical and mental shape of my life, I'm going to recommit to my queen and best friend and reconnect with my children and grandchildren, on and on. If they even do anything at all, then they 1X it after that. They go to the gym once, they do Hindu squats once, they do Hindu push-ups once, they try to sit down and write once, they read one chapter in the book, they go for their road work once, they go swimming once, they look into traveling once, they maybe do a tiny bit of research on moving once. All this, it's all one and done. It's all one and done. And that's really good news for a man like yourself because as an elite man, elite husband, elite father, elite entrepreneur, elite community leader, basically you have no competition. If you don't do well and you call the United States or you call Canada home, what excuse do you have? What excuse do I have not to build the world of my dreams? There's no excuse at all. I live in the two greatest countries in the world. I live in both countries as the land of opportunity. Both countries are like living in paradise every day. Every day I wake up in the United States. Every day I wake up in Canada. I'm surrounded by abundance. I'm surrounded by success. I'm surrounded by examples of what not to do. I'm surrounded by examples of what to do. I'm immersed in wealth, billions and trillions of dollars, rivers of money. I'm immersed in opportunity online and offline like never before. The only thing that can stop me is a poor work ethic or a scarcity mindset. One of the reasons I have my mastermind members reading and rereading a book by the great Dan Kennedy, No BS Wealth Attraction, one of the greatest books ever written on the subject, is that every year I reread that book, No BS Wealth Attraction. And the reason I do it is it's a checkup from the neck up for me. It's a checkup from the neck up. I'll catch myself. My language will maybe be a scarcity language. You know, I can't do this, or that's expensive, or that costs too much, or I'll see myself cutting corners or being cheap or being, not focusing on serving others first, not focusing on my business being a service business. And then boom, I'll reread that book every January and it screws my head on straight. It's a mental checkup from the neck up. And all of a sudden, it reminds me of all the mental and physical wealth triggers that are around me. It reminds me of what to do to be attractive to money. It reminds me how to think and behave to be magnetic to money. And the next thing you know, my generosity, my open-mindedness returns. I start making decisions based on how many people can I help, how many men can I serve. That's how I write my book. That's how I write my newsletter. That's how I write my telegrams. How can I help the most men? And then I sit down and write. That's how I start shooting my videos. How can I help the most men? What do I need to speak about? And all of a sudden, I'm back in an abundance mindset. All of a sudden, I'm a magnetic to opportunities. I'm magnetic to money and to wealth, and it sets me up for the rest of the year. So if you're having any mental blocks in terms of money, if you have a scarcity mindset, or maybe you go back and forth between abundance and scarcity and abundance, I highly recommend getting that book, Dan Kennedy's Wealth, No BS Wealth Attraction, and just studying that book, not just reading it, but studying that book, taking notes on the white index cards, and just really taking that to heart. And then that being one of the 10 books that you read 10 times. So read it this year, and then read it again next January. Then read it again the next January. Then read it again the next January. Then read it again the next January. It's one of those 10 books that's on my shelf that I read 10 times. So it's more powerful, what did I say? Books for breakfast. It's more powerful to read 10 outstanding books 10 times than it is to read 100 books one time. Remember that compound interest. It is more powerful for you to pick 10 books, 10 outstanding books, and read them 10 times, one time a year for a decade as an example, than it is to read 100 books. Specialized knowledge. And that book is one of the books for breakfast. I just wanted to finish up by saying I was talking to you, Emery, about the importance of being a voracious reader. Your mom and I have done everything we can under the sun to encourage you to be a student for life. there's a lot of things that we can do wrong as parents, but one of the things we can't get wrong is we need to inspire, we need to motivate, and we need to plant seeds in you to be a lifelong learner. We need to encourage you and develop a thirst for knowledge, a thirst for personal development. And if Krista and I are able to instill that insatiable thirst for knowledge through books and newsletters and coaching programs, then everything else will take care of itself. Whether you go to college or university, whether you start your own business, whatever you want to do, whatever your mission is, whatever your vision is, whatever your dreams and targets are, that'll all take care of itself if you have an insatiable appetite for knowledge, for winning, for peak performance, for mental toughness. If you are a lifetime student of personal development, like mommy and daddy, the rest will take care of itself. There'll be lots of ups and downs, there'll be lots of challenges, there'll be lots of losses, there'll be lots of victories. But if you're dedicated to personal development, if you're a voracious reader, if you read for an hour every single day, real books, none of this goofy tomato can, iPads or Kindles or any of that fake reading. I'm talking about real books. Build your library, make a list of 10 books that you read every single year. That's the 10X rule for reading books. And just be a voracious reader. Read everything under the sun: fiction, nonfiction, self-development, marketing, fitness, health, mental toughness. Read for fun, read for pleasure, read for serious study. Just read, read, read. And one of the things that I'm excited and proud that I heard the other day is I came out here. I actually didn't get up until 6:30 on Friday because it was this long Martin Luther King weekend. And so there's no school. So I get up half an hour earlier. I just woke up naturally, and I was drinking my water and getting ready to head out on my 15,000 step and do my road work. And I always knock on Emery's door. I always knock on your door, and I always say good morning, and I just check in with you because you've been up since 5:30, 5:45. So you're always in bed every day, 7 days a week. You're always back in bed after you come in with us. You always go back to your room and read. And you literally time yourself, which is incredible because I'm a huge time guy. Like, I believe in start times and end times. Start times and end times. And you've seen me with that kitchen timer, that old egg timer. I want nothing to do with technology or cell phones when I'm doing my important work. So I just have a simple kitchen timer. You see it all the time. So I set it for an hour and I copyright. I set it for an hour and I read. And of course I go for probably a 70-minute walk, 75, sometimes 65 minutes. But it's amazing because you're only 10 years old and you've been timing your mornings ever because your time is so valuable to you before school, because when I get back from my walk, it's time to go. So you literally are timing yourself. You have a beep that goes off, and that's half an hour of reading. And then when that goes off, you get dressed for school, you do your chores, you make your bed, you make your breakfast, you clean your room. So you're timing everything as well, so your morning you're owning your morning. I just want you to know how important that is. You've actually taken the ambition you have the ambition where you're actually owning your morning. Like I teach, you're conquering your morning, and nobody interferes with your morning. So I knock on your bedroom door on last Friday, and I said good morning, and you stick your head up out of the covers and you go, I read 22 pages. I read 22 pages, Daddy. So I'm like, wow, that's great, because we have a rule. Better said, I don't believe in rules as much. I don't have a lot of rules. I have a lot of standards in my life. My hockey team won a Barclay Cup championship for the first time in 24 years because of our standards, our franchise standards, our locker room standards. I built McLean Insurance. I 5X'd my dad's insurance agency. I didn't do it with rules or rituals or tricks. I did it with high elite standards. I took my barbershop, I created it, I invented it in 60 days, and it was profitable in 120 days. And I did it with what? High standards. High standards. And I've done the same thing in my personal life. Whenever I've excelled for periods of time, it's because I'm not tolerating anything low standard in my life. I stopped drinking alcohol because I wanted to raise my standards. I started dating my wife again because I wanted to raise my standards. I started, coaching Emery in power skating and in hockey because I wanted to raise my standards as a father. I now go to the gym next door here for 25, 35 minutes, 4 days a week. I lift a little bit. I haven't lifted weights in a number of years. I'm in good shape. I want to get in phenomenal shape. I'm raising my standards. I'm no longer tolerating being in good shape. I'm no longer tolerating being in good shape. I want to be in phenomenal shape. I want my daughter to see that I'm in phenomenal shape. I want my wife to know that I'm bulletproof and 10 foot tall. So these are the kind of things. So we have a standard in our home that says everybody reads a minimum 10 pages per day. 10 pages of a real book today. Krista reads 30, 40, 50, 60, 75 pages a day, minimum. Sits out here by the pool, read. Mindful meditation, yoga, all the stuff that she's passionate, obsession about, fiction, nonfiction. And me, I'm a lunatic reader. I read right now in Naples, I'm reading 3 to 5 hours per day. On a Saturday and a Sunday, 5 hours. On a work day, 3 hours. Every book, I filled my suitcase. I filled the Escalade when we shipped my Cadillac here from Ontario. What do you think it was full of? It was full of books and newsletters and recipe cards and clothes. And it was just packed with all the things that I'm going to study when I'm here. So I'm reading 3 to 5 hours per day. And that's not a rule. That's just a personal standard that I have. And I'm loving it because there's no excuse here. Now, when I'm back home, I'm not able to read that much, but it just shows you how important it is to have those standards. So then I get up this morning, I thought 22 pages, that's phenomenal. I mean, I expect Emery to read 10 pages a day minimum. What I loved is then again today, which was on the weekend, she comes up to me and she says, "Hi, sweetheart, how many pages did you read yesterday and how many pages did you read?" I'm just doing a video on books for breakfast. How many pages did you read yesterday?
22.
22 pages. And how many pages did you read today?
23.
23 pages. And how much time do you read every morning?
Half an hour.
Half an hour. And how many pages do you usually read in half an hour? 10, 12, 15 pages? So books for breakfast, right? Where did Mommy take you yesterday, unannounced, when you guys were out in downtown Naples? Where did she take you that was so much fun?
Barnes and Nobles.
Barnes and Nobles, the bookstore. Have you ever been there before?
No.
And what did you love about Barnes and Nobles?
Books.
What did you buy?
Books.
Books. And what did you do as soon as you got home last night at the kitchen table?
Started reading.
Started reading. And what were you doing this morning when you read 23 pages?
My book.
How many books do you have on the go right now?
2.
2 books on the go, and your room is full of books. Is our home empty or full of books? Full of books. Okay, 23 pages. So books for breakfast. One of the things is, if it is a standard in your home, it needs to be a standard first thing in the morning. First things first, right? The reason that I walk, the reason I write, the reason I read first thing in the morning is because you need to own your morning. The first hour of the day belongs to you. So what's most important? I will go this far. Like, it's up to parents, it's up to Krista and I to model the behavior that we want. I can talk about reading all we want. Krista can talk about reading all we want. If we're cell phone junkies, or we're TV addicts, or, you know, we don't model the behavior we're looking for in Emery, if we're screen addicts, then I'm sorry, but your message is incongruent. And your kids are not fooled. Your teenagers are not fooled. Your adult children are not fooled. They'll do exactly what you do. Drinkers come from drinking families. Abuse comes from abusive families. Fit kids come from fit families. Nutrition, it just goes on. They model. They don't listen to what you say. They don't do what you say. They just model from the day they're born everything you do. They'll have the same language. They'll have the same attitudes. They'll have the same mindset, and they'll have the same habits and rituals and standards. So when you tolerate something low in your life, like if you tolerate, being overweight, or if you tolerate poor language, or you tolerate anything and everything under the umbrella of losing, if you tolerate being less than your best, if you tolerate being mediocre this or average or ordinary that, then you get more of that, right? We get more of what we tolerate. Well, books for breakfast is no different than that. Whatever Krista and I tolerate is what we'll get more of. So what we decided to do with the advice of Dan Leonis, the great Dan Leonis, the creator, the mastermind behind the Einstein Blueprint, which was a game changer for us building our world with a young daughter, is that is what we need to fill our world with books. So we've been living in this house for 2 weeks in Naples, and it's absolutely cluttered with books. There's books in the bathroom, there's books in all the bedrooms. I have a home office, which is just packed with newsletters and books. Krista is always listening to audiobooks, always listening to podcasts. Every time Emery looks up, both of her parents are sitting on the couch reading, out by the pool reading. We're in our vehicles are full of books. When I'm waiting for her at school, I'm reading. Every other parent is lost in the technology. Just books, wisdom and knowledge. So books for breakfast means if it's important, it has to be done early. Reading needs to be done early. Walking needs to be done early. Copywriting, Operation Money Suck needs to be done early. So I just wanted to share with you, if you want it to happen in your world, whether it's in your personal world or in your business, for God's sake, start modeling the behavior that you want to see. And raise your standards. Whatever you tolerate, what you and your queen tolerate, you're going to get more of that in your home. Whatever you tolerate as a CEO, you're going to get more of that in your business. Whatever you tolerate with your prospects and clients, you're going to get more of that in the future. Make sure you're not tolerating anything that isn't outstanding. Don't allow anything into your world that is not extraordinary. Do not allow anything into your world that is not extraordinary. I'll finish with one last thing here. You know what? If you're a parent who is a cell phone junkie, you live on your phone, especially after 5 o'clock. I don't know what the hell you're doing. I have mine shut off at 4:30 for the night, put away. But if you're modeling that behavior, if you're a man who's lost in your phone, and your wife looks up and you're lost in your phone, your children look up and you're lost in your phone, your teenagers, you're lost in your phone, you're never present. If that's happening in your world, I can tell you right now, I personally consider that child neglect. I don't care how old or young your children are, or your grandchildren, that's child neglect. When one of your children walks by and talks to you and you're buried in your phone, or your wife tries to connect with you and you're buried in your phone, or a family member tries to, speak with you and you're buried in your phone, shame on you if that's happening in your world. That is the thinking and behavior of the 99% quiet desperation. Time to clean that stuff up. If the king doesn't rise, the kingdom dies. So that's it for today. Dear Emery, books for breakfast. I hope that you find value in this. If you know other people that need to hear this message, please share. Please feel free to share this video with them. If you need help implementing anything that I talk about in these videos, if you need any help whatsoever, there's a ladder you need to go through. First of all, if you need any help with anything that I talk, order my book at nobullbook.com. nobullbook.com. That's step number one. If you've already ordered my book and you still need help implementing my badass rituals and rules and standards into your world, the second step is to subscribe to my monthly world building newsletter. It's called my Michael McLean World Building Letter. Go to badassletter.com, badassletter.com, and subscribe to my monthly paper and ink newsletter. I'll send you a 22-page newsletter in your mailbox every month. I talk about all this stuff in my life and my business. If you've done that and you still want more help implementing these things into your world, then the next step is one of my elite world building masterminds. Apply for your seat in one of my brotherhoods, 12-month online mastermind at badassworldbuilders.com. That's badassworldbuilders.com. It is a 12-month online mastermind. We meet every second Wednesday for 2 hours. We work on each other's business. It's a brotherhood of elite men, husbands, fathers, marketers, CEOs, and businessmen and community leaders. If you need help, those are the places to go and check out our resources. That's it. Remember, like I tell you every single night, Emery, you're the greatest gift that has ever been bestowed upon Krista and myself. And I always think about that, the children are a gift, and to whom much is given, much should be expected. And it is my goal and Krista's goal every day to become a little bit better as a parent, learn more. We learn as much from you as you learn from us. And it's just a true blessing to be on this process and this journey of fatherhood with you. Always remember that we love you and you're the greatest blessing in our life. That's it. 2 words that changed my life. Books for breakfast, books for breakfast. 2 words that changed my life, 2 words that'll change your life. Be relentless.